Got more lifter noise than you do cash? Try this trick out. So you can actually take apart and service a stuck lifter. Just need a little pick here. The first thing you need to do is soak the lifters overnight in gasoline or some type of solvent. Kerosene works pretty well too, but I usually use gasoline. And just go ahead and hook in here with a pick to remove the clip. And this thing can fly out at you, so keep your finger over it. There it goes, the clip. And then just turn it over, and hopefully you can shake out these two pieces here. And then this part here, the inside part, is a little tricky to get out. You may actually, now that you've removed these two pieces, you may have to go ahead and soak this again in gasoline for a few hours. But once you do, I just use an old push rod, and there's a little lip in here that you can actually hook on with the push rod, and it may take a couple of times to break it loose, but eventually you should be able to hook that lip in there and pull out the body. And then inside will be a spring, and then in here will be a tiny spring, oops, don't lose it, and a little check ball. And what you can do is clean up each of these by soaking them in gasoline, and then once you've got them cleaned up, you can reassemble it. And once you got your parts all cleaned up, just coat them with a very light film of oil or spray them with some WD-40, just a very, very thin film, otherwise it'll be hard to compress the body back into the lifter. So start with your cap and your little tiny spring and place the spring into the cap. Make sure it's not sideways like that. Make sure it is vertical. There we go. And then take your body, insert the check ball, make sure it sits right in the hole like that, and then go ahead and put your cap with your spring on. Make sure the spring stays put, doesn't fall out, and you should be able to just snap it in with your finger, and that takes care of that. Then for the lifter body, you can drop the spring in, but there's a little bore in there that you want to make sure that the spring is square. So what I usually do is put the spring onto the body first and then insert so that I can ensure that the spring will fit into the bore. Now at this point, this is why you wanted a very thin coat of oil. Air pressure is going to make this a little bit miserable for you here. So what you'll want to do is take your push rod and push very hard to squeeze out the air. Okay. Then place your cap, and I still need to squeeze out some air. All right, once you got the air squeezed out, take your clip, and I usually find it easier to put the open end of the clip in first and just push it in. And again, you want to be very careful that you don't let it fleeing away, because this will be really hard to find. There it goes. And then using your pick tool, just pry the back part in, and there it is. And that will be a nice new conditioned lifter, and should be a lot quieter if it was already sticking, and you can test it to make sure that it compresses down. Now remember, once these hydraulic lifters fill with oil, you won't be able to compress them at all. But that should save you some money instead of buying a new set of lifters if you don't really need them.